Hello, everyone, and it's very exciting to be here today. And I want to celebrate Women's Month with you and amazing team from ISTQB. I think it's an amazing start of the month to be surrounded with the professionals from tech industry from all around the world. I am Maria Voskanian, a director of Women in Tech Georgian chapter at Women in Tech Global. We are a very big international community of women with more than 300,000 members worldwide. And actually, our main goal is to bridge the gap, right? To close the gap and bridge diversity, inclusion, and innovation in STEM. And everyone is welcome to join our community and become a part of this incredible movement. And our main mission is to empower 5 million women and girls by 2030. And please help us to achieve that. Today, I'm like very excited and thrilled to announce our uh, one of the, I think, very important partnership with ISTQB. It's an international software testing qualification board, and it's the largest and globally recognized leader, right, in the software testing and quality assurance. And as far as I know, ISTQB administrated more than 1.44 millions exams, right? And issued like more than almost 1 million certification in more than 130 countries. And this is very exciting. That if you are not familiar with activities of ISTQB and their initiatives, please go and check it out. It's very, very important to be a part of it. Because nowadays this we should close this gap and this bias shouldn't be met, right? So we should understand that like software testing is very important and quality assurance is crucial. And I want to announce that we are launching our webinar series, Women in Testing, where we are inviting industry leaders from different countries, different sectors, and we will be covering the main topics of in IT. And I think it is very important because um, we will be like in touch with the leaders who already have paved this way. And I encourage you to be very like interactive, ask questions, and be a part of this webinar series, because every month we will be inviting very interesting speakers. So I won't take a lot of your time. I want to pass the word to our partner at ISTQB, Debbie, and she will dive deeper and she will introduce our amazing speaker, Amanda Log. And hello, Debbie. Thanks for
Hello.
us.
Maria, thank you so much for that introduction. My name is Debbie Archer, and I'm actually part of the ISTQB's working group. ISTQB is a very diverse community, a global community. I would like to say that at a central level, ISTQB is mostly volunteers, very passionate volunteers who are dedicated to the art of testing. It's a wonderful profession, and indeed a profession that is very open and accessible to women. The ISTQB Women in Testing initiative is dedicated to promoting gender equality in tech, most specifically in software testing and software quality, by empowering and supporting women in industry and beyond. By highlighting the leadership and expertise of women in IT and tech, the initiative aims to inspire individuals to reach their full potential and envision opportunities for women in leadership roles across the technology sectors. Through advocacy, networking, and knowledge sharing, the initiative works to build a more inclusive and diverse IT community where women can thrive and drive technological innovation. I'm so thrilled that we're here today on celebrating International Women's Day, most especially, and to introduce to you Amanda Logue. Amanda, I will let you talk a little bit about yourself because you've got such a fantastic bio. I just want to say that I have been totally honoured to have been able to interview, discuss with many women in the industry about the challenges, the obstacles, and the opportunities in testing. I think we've still got, in some places, a way to go, but the opportunity to share stories, individual stories, I hope will touch the hearts of certain people, or some people, across the community. Amanda, I'll stop speaking now and ask you to introduce yourself a little bit more and to go into your presentation.
All right. Thanks, Debbie. And thanks, Maria, as well. It's so, I'm honored to be here and to be asked to be here and present for this. I'm a single mom. I have 2 teenage daughters. So empowering them in life is important. And I'm very passionate about testing. So this is my two worlds colliding. And I love that. I love that we get to do that and take part. My background, I have been in IT for about 25 years, but probably a little more than that at this now, unfortunately. I am a senior test lead at Atlantic Lotto. I am located in Canada. I don't think I said that. I'm actually located in Canada. And I am the vice president for the Canadian board. And I've been involved in the Canadian board for, I would say, about 6 or 7 years. But I've been involved in the ISTQB for 9 years. Currently, I am the TBOC Testing Body of Knowledge Working Group Chair, and I also was one of the authors for the gambling syllabus as well for the ISTQB.
Thank you. Thank you. So Amanda, thank you for that. Just to explain to people, we talk about boards and what have you. ISTQB is a central organisation responsible for, as an example, all of the syllabi in ISTQB and the overall governance of the scheme. But around the world, we actually have 70 member boards which represent local countries or local regions. And Amanda is from the Canadian Software Testing Board with a lot of experience. So I'm going to ask the team behind the scenes to take me off the screen and hand over to Amanda to start her presentation now. Sit back, everyone, and enjoy. It's going to be good.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll get started. So today I'm going to talk about software testing and quality assurance. I did want to say, if you have any questions, just pop them in. We have people in the background that will let me know what they are, and Debbie will have them as well at the end. And so if you have questions, feel free to share. Today, I'm just going to give you an introduction on software testing, a little bit of its history, the different types of software testing, some key skills. I am going to go over the ISTQB portfolio and the importance of diversity and some career opportunities, and then just some tips on how you can break into the community. So just to start, testing. The definition in our ISTQB glossary is the process within the software development lifecycle that evaluates the quality of a component or a system related to its work products. So that we're just making sure that the system that's being developed actually matches your requirements and your business needs. So for the history, software testing started in the 1960s. Software engineering really started back then. It was really focused on like unit testing and debugging. So really like that developer level validations. In the 70s, we started to see, I'm not that old yet, but in the 70s, they started to see that the software was becoming more and more complex, which was leading to bigger issues. And so as those were becoming more complex, so was software testing. In the 80s, we kind of shifted from looking at finding bugs to quality assurance and how that quality assurance can be embedded in all parts of the life cycle, not just in that testing life cycle itself. In the 90s, automation started coming out and some test-driven development. In 1998 is when the ISTQB was established. And then now, like within the 2000s, everything, like I said, as the systems are getting more complex, so is our testing. And domain testing is getting more out there. So there's like automotive testing, there's a real niche market for that. Gambling testing, a niche market for that. All types of things. Mobile, that's really grown over the last probably since the 2000s, that we see a lot of mobile app testing, and that's again another niche market that there is out there. We also have a lot of like non-functional testing that goes on as well, and so like your security testing, we're all hearing about security all over the place all the time. So, and security breaches. So what can we do as software testers to check the system and to make sure those things aren't happening? And load testing. The world we kind of live in right now, everybody wants everything immediately, and if it's not there immediately, you close that website, you go to the next one, or if the app is not how you really wanted, it's a little bit hard to navigate around, well, then you uninstall that app and you move to the next one. So there's a lot of we need to make sure that everything is good when we get out there and that the user experience is good. So a lot of that is what's changing now within the system. For different types of testing, so we have functional testing. Again, these are the ISTQB glossary terms. So it's testing is performed to evaluate if a component or a system satisfies the functional requirements. So that can be, say you have a report and you're expecting these 10 fields on the report, and this is the data that you're expecting to have on that report. For non-functional testing, that's performing that the component or system complies to non-functional requirements. That's your load, your response times, your security testing, all of that stuff is all underneath your non-functional. Even you can have like some organizations have under their non-functional, like a system, a password needs to be so many characters and special, like all the things around that. So you can need to have minimum of 30 characters for your password. Well, that can be considered a non-functional requirement as well, not just a functional. So there's those types of things in there. And then there's the domain specific. Testing performed to evaluate a component or a system complies to a requirement within a specific domain, such as gambling or automotive. We kind of spoke to those already. And then again, like mobile as well would be there. UX, I would also kind of consider a little bit of a domain specific. They're really niche areas, and there's a lot of pressure put on that right now, and a lot of people, even accessibility. So we need to make sure that everything's accessible for everybody at this point. So I was testing it was a piece of hardware, and we needed to make sure that it was also accessible. So the buttons were up top, but then all the hardware pieces to be able to pay for things had to be down low. And everyone was always like, why is it down low? They couldn't understand. I'm like, well, it's accessibility. We need to make sure that we're inclusive for everybody and things. So it's just interesting the way that it's evolving and how we have to go that way. Some key skills for testers. We need to be attention to detail. You need to be a critical thinker. So we have a lot of problems and we need to solve them. Deadlines never kind of work as the original schedule is not usually where you end up. So we end up having to solve some problems. We oftentimes will do a lot of risk-based testing. So if your timelines get shortened, you can hopefully cut out those lower priority tests if needed. A continuous learner. As the world changes, as software changes, so is software testing. So we need to be able to continue to learn those different technologies and the new way of doing things. So that's why continuous learning is important. You need to be a good communicator. You need to be able to communicate verbally. There's a lot of meetings and you need to be able to have conversations with the business owners and the developers. A lot of times we're kind of an in-between person where we have a lot of technical information that we can speak to the developers and we can talk in their language, but then we can also talk to the business and the product owners in their language. So we need to be able to communicate on both levels that way. both verbally and then also in written communication. We write defects often. Preferably you write a defect and all the information's in there, and it's very easy for the developer just to pick that up, understand exactly what the problem is, understand exactly how it should be working, and be able to go and fix it. If it's not clear, then there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of conversations that need to happen, and it's just wasted time. So it's very important that we can communicate that well. And you need to be flexible. Like I said, timelines don't necessarily match. We don't necessarily always get the testing time that we originally planned for. Things change, scopes change, project deliverables change, resources change. There's anything that can happen. And we need to be flexible and be able to adapt to those. As a lead, it's very important that you also remain calm during those times, and that you're kind of a voice of reason. Yeah, this is what's happening, but this is what we're going to do, and this is how we can make our deadlines, and how we can ensure that we still have quality within our systems. So that's important, to be flexible as well. It's not I say that, but then there's other times when we need to also be able to push back and say, and highlight the risks, right? These are your risks by not giving us what we need to do this. And that's also important as well, but that's also a part under the good communicator. So here is the ISTQB portfolio. A little bit of ISTQB. Debbie gave a wonderful background about ISTQB. But I also wanted to mention that the ISTQB is made up of 4 exec members. 2 of those are women. Currently, our ISTQB president is a woman, which is amazing. When I first started back 9 years ago, the executive was all men. So I think this is wonderful to see women up in that executive positions. We do have a lot of working groups. We have a little bit of work to do to get some more women involved in the working groups, where that is still more male dominated right now, but we're getting there. We're still going. So I also encourage you to volunteer at the ISTQB if you'd like to get involved, and maybe we can make some more numbers there on the working groups as well. Our portfolio itself. So I don't know if you can see my mouse when I'm moving or not, but here we have this CTFL, which is our foundation level. So this is like our core foundation for testing. It has a lot of the terms, the basics. Like, this is the basics of what every tester should know, ISTQB tester should have for their knowledge. We then can go up on this, and we have some core advanced. I just have a screenshot, so this doesn't work well. If you're actually on the ISTQB website, when you hover over these, it will tell you the full name of what the certification is, what the syllabus is, and it will give you a little more information, just so you know. But for here, I just have an image, so I don't have that available. So we can go up to our core, and here we go up to an advanced level. So there's more a test analyst, test manager, and some more technical roles. So some automation and technical test analyst. These are, it's obviously a build on the foundation level, and there's a step up, and you can start to see here that this is where we're starting to branch out. And I get into a little more later about kind of the different types of roles we can have in testing, but this is where you're starting to see that branch out. Do you really want to be a technical person and in the weeds and a doer, or do you like to manage people or processes? And this is where you're starting to see that you can branch out into those areas. And then we come up into the expert level, test management, some agile, some test practitioner stuff. Test management, again, this is just a step above that advanced level, and you're getting more into the higher level. Like, this is where your managers and your experts in the industry would be up in this level. If we come down under the CTFL, we get into the specialists. And so here's a lot of domains and technology approaches and all of those types of areas as well. So I've already spoken before. So we have like gambling and automotive. And so those would be really domain specific. And then we have quality characteristics and test levels. So this is like usability testing, performance testing, and those types of things are in here. Um, and then over here, there's some more automation and some agile and AI and those types of things are in here as well. Security is over here. So we can really dig down into those levels where depending on where your passion is and where you want to grow, you can then also go down into those paths as well, which is great. Also, I don't have on here but we also have some personas on the ISTQB website where if you click on the persona and it will tell you the career paths that you can take through those, which is also very interesting. We do have some supporting skills and some other certification schemes that we're affiliated with, which you can click on and see as well if you're interested. I'm just going to take a pause. Was there any questions around the ISTQB portfolio, or I can just keep going maybe? I'll keep going. If there is anything, Debbie, just chime in. So then the next I wanted to talk about diversity and why it's important in software testing. So I find it's important in everything, not just in software testing. I find with diversity, it just gives a different approach and a new idea. I think if we go back 30, 40, 50 years ago, a lot of people were very set in their ways and you had to do A, B, and C to get to D. Well, we're not, I don't think as a society we're so much like that as much anymore. I'm sure there's some, but I find when you have a diverse group of people, you can really find different approaches. And a lot of those times there's a better approach than what you've been used to doing. We get very stuck in, this is just how I've always done it. So we're on rinse and repeat and you just keep going. But there's a different way to do it. And I think it's great. I love learning a different way to do it and new ideas. I think it's wonderful. Another thing is, like, as I mentioned about UX and UX coverage, now when we release anything into the world, it's not just a small subset of people that are using it. It's a wide range of people. And if you have a more diverse group that already have eyes on it when you're testing, the wider range of view that you're getting to see of who will actually see it when you launch. I think it's wonderful that we get to see these different approaches and these ideas and different people really like different things and that's wonderful. That's what makes the world so great. But it's nice that we can see some of those things earlier. There's different cultures that if you put like a word means different things for different cultures. So it's great to be able to have that early than say, oh no, you can't use that word for this and you can't whatever. I think that's one of the great benefits of having a device group. So career opportunities, I kind of started talking a little bit before. So I find there's really like in software testing, there's like 3 different kind of streams. So you can manage people and processes, or you can go into like a practitioner, or you can go into a technical role. So oftentimes when I have some of my team coming to me and they're like, oh, I don't know where I want to go next and whatever, I try to dig down into this. Like, so what is it you like about your job that you're doing? Do you like writing the actual test cases? Do you like getting in the actual testing? Do you like doing automation? Do you like doing performance? Or do you like managing? Do you like trying to help people grow? Do you like learning about the processes and how you can make those more efficient? So depending on where you're passionate about, those are kind of how I steer through the career opportunities. there is many all over the world. What is nice right now about the world we live in is you can actually work remotely for anywhere. A lot of companies you can VPN through and stuff. So a location shouldn't restrict you. So there's so many opportunities out there for testing. Like I said, you can be a manager of people. You can help with the processes and all of those things. Or we have people that, do you know what? They love testing. That's where they want to be. They love it. They're so good at it. They don't want to deal with the drama of managing people. They are very willing and love to learn new ways of doing things and make things efficient, but they're not the ones that want to go out and get those ideas. They want them. And it's fantastic because they're so good at testing, that sometimes when I have those people, I hope that they want to stay in testing because they're so good at it. They like it. They just have a mindset for it. It's wonderful that the way that they see things. And then technical, we do have a lot and myself, I was also a developer, but you do oftentimes see a lot of developers come over to testing, and they'll work really in the automation and performance and that type of testing, security testing. A lot of that's developers as well. They're just figuring out ways to break things, really. So, and how to break into the systems. So that's usually a really technical role. So if that's where you're passionate, that is another stream you can go. And then, so breaking into the industry as a woman, there is women's support networks such as Women in Tech, Women in Testing for the ISTQB. There's all kinds of support networks out there. Get in touch with them, leverage them as much as possible. I also recommend getting a female mentor. They have broken through some of the barriers that we're not having to break through now. There's still a lot of barriers there, but if we compare to where we were 30, 40 years ago, we are making progress, and they are wonderful at being able to help guide you through some of those. And a mentor can be one of your friends that just inspires you, that, they've just taken their life and taking a whole charge of their life and what they want, and they are so great to support you and inspire you. Another good thing for a female mentor is if you want to have some tough conversations with your manager or anybody, they're a good person that you can just run that conversation through with them, and they can be a sounding board, and so that's really useful for a female mentor. Obviously, I recommend you getting ISTQB certified. It's a great way to get your foot in to start, and you have that base knowledge on what testing is. So that is wonderful, a wonderful first step. Another is to get involved in the community. Join events like this. All kinds of things. There's all kinds of networkings, meetups. Go to those types of events and network. It's a great way to step in. And another thing in women, we're kind of sometimes we're not so great at this, but self-advocate for yourself. Take track of the things that you've done throughout the year, and talk to your manager about those things. And if you really want to try something new, self-advocate that you want to try it and that you are good at it and things. It's I find it really important, and it's difficult sometimes to self-advocate for yourself, but you're very valuable, and know you're valuable, and it's okay to say you are valuable and that you have provided this value to your company, or to a company that you are applying to. You are valuable, and you can say that. And that was the end of our session. So I just want to thank everybody. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. And Debbie, I don't know if we have any here in the.
We've got lots of chatter,
Oh.
and lots of things going on in the feed. First of all, there's a lot of questions about ISTQB exams and certification and preparing. Now, I might take this one a little bit myself.
Yes.
Because I can see everybody's giving advice and what have you. Now, ISTQB recommend, if you are preparing, that you do accredited training. Accredited is really important. It means that the training providers have actually gone through a process where their materials are ratified and checked against the syllabus. So that is always the strongest recommendation. Now, we know that that's not sometimes the obvious way to go for a lot of people, and self-study is really important. Can I say, please use the syllabus, use the glossary, use the official exams. Do not go into using things which are advertised on the internet and what have you, thinking that they are going to help you specifically to get through exams. It's not always the case. So strong recommendation there. Anybody who's looking, please go to the ISTB website and download the materials are there. And at the back of the syllabus, if you go to the back, you'll see the recommended books that have been referenced in the syllabus as well, and they'll be a lot more useful to you. So let's have a little look at some questions here. I don't know if the back office team can kind of help, because we've got quite a few coming through. So we have one here from Nardas. She says, I'm looking for a mentor in software testing to help guide me as I grow in the field. And she's asking if anyone's open to volunteering their time. So hopefully if anybody is watching this video and you feel like doing some mentoring, then you'll be able to maybe let somebody in ISTQB know, or in this group know, and then we can recommend you through to Nardos. Amanda, mentoring, you've already kind of touched on how important it is. Can you give some advice about how to go about finding a mentor?
Yeah, so I guess you can find it within your own company sometimes, but again, I think if you use LinkedIn, you can reach out to people through LinkedIn, I think is a good way. Skills Club is also another good way. And through there, you will be able to, Skills Club is really just around software testing itself. But I think in there, you can reach out to women and see there if they would be willing to help mentor. I know there is some mentor board or some member boards and some chatter about doing some more mentoring within the ISTQB. So I don't know exactly when that's all going to take place, but I think it'll be great when it takes up, because I think there's a lot of need for it.
I think so. So that one, from an ISTQB point of view, I'd say is watch this space. I know that the kind of the outline of a program is in progress at the moment, and obviously will be piloted quite soon, and then hopefully that will actually roll out. So say keep in touch with the ISTQB and watch this space. Quick questions just popped up on screen there about, is there a number of times, maximum attempts for the ISTQB exam? No, there's not. But obviously, I would say, Amanda, just give yourself time to refresh. If you can, from your exam provider, take a look at which learning objectives you weren't particularly strong in the exam, and focus on them. But don't focus so much you forget that you've got to do the whole exam. So, revise hard again using that syllabus and sample exams. What is the difference between manual testing and automation testing, Amanda?
Okay.
Thank you. Well,
so manual testing, you actually physically have a tester that's hands-on keyboard or on a system, and they are actually doing the testing itself. Automation testing is somebody created this. There's still somebody on a keyboard, but they created the scripts and they can run automatically for you, and they will. Oftentimes, you'll use it for like a regression test, and then it will run, I don't know, say 100 tests for you, and it will provide you the results on what's passed and failed. So you don't manually have to have somebody in doing that testing.
The question that usually comes after that, before we go on, is do you need to have programming skills to do automation testing?
The tools that are coming out there now are making it so you probably don't need as much of programming, but I do think it's a benefit to have it, to have some of it. But there's a lot of tools out there that make it a lot easier now than it was back a few years ago.
Just to go back to the conversation about mentoring, Maria, thank you, from WIT Georgia, who says, joining the Women in Tech Hub platform gives you access to inspiring mentors. Oh. And she's actually included in the chats a link. So I'd recommend people take a look at that. So thank you very much for that, Maria. That's very, very helpful indeed. Saranya, your questions come up on the screen here. Any ideas or suggestions how to get hands-on experience once you've got the ISTQB Foundation level certification, as you don't have industrial experience? That's a good question.
Yeah, so you can do some programs where you're just helping out, and the word is escaping me right now, where you just help out and you do some what is that word, Debbie?
Volunteering, kind of volunteering.
Yeah, volunteering.
Yeah.
with companies where you can do some testing. You can also do sometimes some mobile apps will have some alpha and beta testing that you can do. You can join those groups where you're doing testing for those before they actually release them out to the public.
That's good. We've got a question here from Emily about the dev tester. We'll come back to that in a moment. We'll need to be a bit question. The questions come on screen, guys, behind the stage. A little bit kind of ad hoc here. How do you find an ISTQB group in Ireland? The ISTQB group for Ireland is actually the UK and Irish Testing Board, UKITB. If you go to the ISTQB website, go to the top about us, and you'll see all the member boards listed, and you can reach out to the very lovely people over in the UK and Ireland Testing Board. They'll be very pleased to hear from you, I'm sure. I have a question here from Emily, if the team backstage can pop it on screen, talking about the tester-dev relationship can occasionally be contentious, especially as a female tester working with mostly male developers. Do you have any advice for navigating that relationship and gaining respect?
It can be. A lot of times they're like, well, it's working like it should. You're like, no, it's not. Here's the requirement. I think that it's very important that you're assertive and you're kind. I don't think we don't need to be disrespectful. As long as we're respectful and we're stating facts, then I think that's how you earn the respect, honestly.
I agree. How do you proceed with writing test cases when there is limited test basis at the start of the project?
Well, if I end up in that situation, usually I'll ask for some sort of demo, or I speak to the product owner or business owner and I ask them, okay, what do you think's working? How do you want it to work? And that's usually my approach, or like I said, a demo.
Thank you. See what's coming up next. I can see a question here from Madhuri. Here we go. How to manage QA duties, work as a single QA in a Scrum team, and how to start automation as a single QA in a team. Sometimes the team assumes testers don't have work in other fields. Yeah, we know what you're saying, yeah?
Yes, yeah, that's very true. I would say if you're in a Scrum team, then you should be then I assume you're a part of an Agile group, which means that testing isn't just on one person. And that automation should also be embedded in what the developers are doing, and it should be a part of the definition of done. And so it needs to be embedded early and in that continuous development cycle. And you also should be a part of the sprint planning sessions. And if they're putting in a bunch of stories that are going to take you too long to test and it doesn't fit within the timeline, you need to raise that up and tell them that it doesn't fit within the timelines.
Thank you. When there is a production release at 2 p.m., sometimes developers release new versions at around 11 p.m. with many updates. As QA engineers, how can we manage these kind of situations?
I honestly don't know. we just have to, this is a part where we have to be flexible and adaptable, right? If there's something that's getting released to prod, we have to support it. if there's a problem with it being released at 11 p.m. And you have concerns and there's valid risks around that, then you bring that up prior to when they plan on doing that. If there, I guess would be all, and if there's production issues, we all have production issues, right? That's everywhere, and unfortunately, they're usually an all hands on deck, and you do what you do, you roll up your sleeves, and you get it out as fast as possible.
Hi, Amanda. Do you have any advice for someone starting a career in software testing? I'm currently interning, gaining experience in both manual and automation testing.
Interning is the word I was trying to think of earlier, and so thank you for putting it there because I could not remember it. Yeah, so some of the things that I mentioned before, get involved within the community, see if there's any networking events around your area, touch base with people in LinkedIn with careers there. I think you're doing a great thing by doing an internship is a great way to start. You never know where it's gonna come out from.
Yeah, I think also, bear in mind that internship will give you broader skills as well. It's about the communication skills, the negotiating skills, the broader business perspectives perhaps as well. So it's a very useful thing to have behind you. Handon, thank you for your question. Do I absolutely need to know automated testing besides manual to be a good tester? I am ISTQB foundational level certified manual tester now. So
I don't think you need to be an automation tester to be a good tester. I am not an automation tester, and I think I'm a good tester. I am a good tester. I don't think I am a good tester. I think that it's really two separate areas. To be an automation tester, I think you need to be able to do manual testing, and you need to be able to do those automation and use those tools and whatever in that area. But to be a manual tester, you also need to be able to read all the requirements, create the test, and be able to know the system and to figure out, like sometimes it's just UX. You have a different UX brain than other areas. So no, I don't think you need to be no automation to be a good tester.
Thank you. I'll read this question in a moment. I can just see in the stream that people are asking about ISTQB certification and whether it expires. Somebody had picked up their certification in 2009. Amanda, it doesn't expire. Yeah, I think obviously ISTQB released the CTFL 4.0, and that encompasses, if you like, agile DevOps approaches and things which are very relevant to software development today. So it might be worth, having a look at that syllabus and just refreshing yourself, perhaps, if you were certified a little while ago. But your actual certification will not expire as such. Nika, thank you for your question. I'm a manual tester in automotive testing for 15 years, and I'm stuck. I don't know where to start in other aspects of the QA industry. I have my CTFL certification. Amanda, what can you suggest?
I suggest start dabbling. I would actually pick up a few of the other syllabus that you might be interested in, ISTQB syllabi, and kind of read them and see, or look at some videos of different types of testing and see if any of those pique your interest. And then from there, then you could take the next steps to maybe go through the full, maybe you take a course and then you get certified, and then that will open up other doors for you. But there's the internet's full of wonderful examples of different types of testing out there. And yeah, you can leverage those.
Absolutely. Can I just say thank you to everybody in the stream. We talk about community and what a wonderful community testers are. And people are helping each other in this stream, giving each other advice and what have you. Amanda, take a look at it later. Nadas, thank you for your reply to Madhuri also about defining definition of done and carry on from what Amanda's saying earlier. Fantastic stuff. Thank you. Wonderful testers. Marinki, how can you successfully transition to QA as a software developer?
That's what I did. Honestly, the company I was at the time, they were starting a QA group. We didn't actually have one. So I got involved in that QA group, and then I helped develop it, and then it just took off from there. I honestly kind of fell into this career. I thought I had somewhat enjoy development, but I'm where I'm supposed to be in software testing, and that's what I feel. So that's one way. If you again, you could do some internships as well. I think that could also help if you wanted to do that on the side. Um, and then you could also take some of the ISTQB certifications and then get that core knowledge. And then if there was any openings within your company, you could transfer over, or other companies as well. And although automation testers, you don't actually need development. If you do have that in there on your CV, it does help as well. So
very good. Again, Anna Frankel, I just have to say thank you for your comments and advice to Mika. That's wonderful. Yvonne is asking, do you have any advice on starting a quality assurance startup?
Depending on which way you're going with this, I'm not 100% sure if you mean starting for like consulting so that you go out into companies and do the quality assurance and testing for other companies, or if you just have a startup and you're trying to do quality assurance within it. The first one I'll go through first. If you are looking to go out and to get bids so that you and your team can start testing, I do think being ISTQB certified is a big step. I do also think having some TMMI also is helpful because as your company, you will be able to bring in some process improvements as well into another organization, which is oftentimes, if a company is outsourcing, they're looking for new ideas, and that sometimes they just need staff because they don't have enough bodies, but other times they're looking for outside advice. So I think having those two things would be really important. And I think even not even just your foundation level from ISTQB, I think working up so you have advanced level and even experts, so that you would be able to really provide that guidance to a company that you were going to, I think would be important. And that's assuming that that's what you want with your quality assurance startup.
Yeah, she'd like to be a consultant.
Yeah.
So you touched on TMMI there, Amanda. Can you just mention what that is?
So TMMI, so ISTQB, this is how I always explain it. ISTQB is really around your certifying your person and the people and your staff, and making sure that we have the knowledge to go through in the different types of testing. TMMI is certifying your company and your processes. So they really go hand in hand a lot. And that's kind of the difference between those two. So TMMI, you can get an assessment on your company, and they can come in and they'll do an assessment on your level of maturity. And there's 5 different levels that you can get to, depending on where you are in your processes.
Fantastic. There's a question here again, back the team back behind her. I'm just going to go in with this. As a tester, I'm looking to leverage AI into my day-to-day tasks. Do you have any advice, Amanda? Thank you.
So you have to be careful with AI a little bit, and what your organization's allowing. So some organizations are really hesitant on allowing any of using AI outside of your companies because of the proprietary data. They don't want that out there. So be careful, be mindful of that before you start using any AI outside of your organization. But there is a lot of tools out there now that are starting to use AI to help build their test cases. And so you can import the requirements and it'll spit out a manual test case for you. So that is the way you can start to do that. We also have, it's not to leverage to be able to use for testing, but we also have an AI ISTQB certification around that as well, around AI and how it is and how you can test it.
Perfect. Barbara, sorry, we're just getting around to your question here. You asked if this will be saved, this broadcast, and yes, indeed, it'll be saved on the ISTQB YouTube channel, so you'll be able to go back and listen again to all the wonderful insight that Amanda has shared. Havisa, thank you for your question. Is it really necessary for a tester to know how to do the bugs fixing?
No, we don't fix anything. We just report it. So we do absolutely zero bug fixing. it is important for us to know the systems and how they connect and how they talk to each other, because that's very important for the developers to be able to fix the issues. But we don't fix any, which I will say earlier, someone was talking about moving from software development over to QA, which was one of my that was one of my struggles when I moved over, because I actually wanted to still be able to fix things. And I was like, no, I'm not allowed to do that anymore. So I struggle with that part. Yeah.
That's great. Just double checking we've not missed anything here. Someone's planning on starting a security, Angela, planning on starting to start on security testing. Can you recommend some best tools to use?
I personally don't know what the best tools are out there. I think they are constantly changing. The tools that I would have used 6 months ago might not be the same tools you would need today. And I think it's really important that you need to go out and look exactly for what your requirements are and what you need. And then you can best select your tool from that.
Yeah, and obviously if you're planning on starting security testing, again, we all say, as a reference document, the ISTQB syllabus, security test engineer is be worth a look at. And as I mentioned earlier, there are references at the back of that to books and articles and what have you, which can give some interesting insight. So, and that's free to download off the ISTQB website, of course, so you can use it as you might need to. I think we're kind of coming to the end here. I don't see any further questions. Maria, regarding tester internships, would looking into the local chapters for WITO ISTQB be a good idea, or other opportunities available to college students, uni students to start education? That's an interesting one. The ISTQB local chapters, as such, the member boards, don't typically offer internships themselves, Amanda.
No.
It's not, as mentioned earlier, the local boards are really there to support the central function of ISTQB with translation of the syllabuses, etc., and to then advocate for the profession in the local community. But they don't offer jobs typically as such. Maybe we can come back to that one later, because I have got a question here I must read out. Rochelle, thank you. I started training a new tester with zero experience in testing. It's my first time to lead with zero experience. Currently, I enjoy test execution and want him to learn a next level, especially in creating test cases. Have you got any advice about how I should start to train him in creating test cases? He can't easily get it. I'm assuming he's struggling a little bit there.
Yeah. I would get him to start with the ISTQB foundation level, and then at least he will, I'm assuming that you also are foundation level certified. So then at least you guys will start talking the same language, and then you guys are at least starting there the same. And then from there, I would just actually have him shadow you. Go through, okay, I'm going to pick up this requirements document and I'm going to create test cases. And he's going to watch you kind of just shadow you and start from there, I think is where I would start. And then when you actually get into the test execution itself, then same, I would let him shadow somebody and have a buddy system. We often have a buddy system too at work. Yeah.
Karima, how can you become an ISTQB trainer?
Do you want to take it?
I can take this one. So I mentioned accreditation earlier and how important that is within the ISTQB ecosystem, just to try to make sure that people are really learning what's in that syllabus for two reasons. We actually want you to pass the exams. It's not a case of us wanting people to fail. We want you to pass. But we also want to make sure that you've got skills that are transferable into the workplace and skills which are going to support your organization, indeed support you in your career. So there is a lot of governance around ISTQB accreditation. Typically what will happen is you will have some sort of materials, and all sorts of ways you can get hold of materials, and then you will apply to your local board. They'll expect you to hold the certificate which you want to teach. So if you want to teach the foundation level, you must hold the foundation level certificate, and typically you'll submit a CV, but it's those materials that you're going to use which are really important, and making sure that there's complete traceability to the syllabus, and enough to make sure you're preparing your students for the exam. So thank you for that. CB, thank you. Can AI replace testing jobs in terms of manual and automated testing?
No, I don't believe so. I remember when automation testing was coming, everyone thought it was going to replace manual and we weren't going to be needed. Well, that didn't happen either, right? So no, I don't think AI will.
Khadija, thank you for your question. In automation testing, which tech stack is more valuable in the market? Python, TypeScript, as an example.
Yeah, I am not 100% sure which one would be. I think it would be really dependent on your company, not within the market itself. It would really be within your company and whatever stack that they use and whatever integrates with their tools that they already have. And that's how I would measure that value.
I think so too. I think we're coming up for end of time. We've had lots of...
I have one more thing, Debbie. I'm not exactly sure who was asking about training the person that had zero experience. We also have the practical tester that would also be useful for anybody looking to learn about test scripts and stuff. That would also be a good tool for them to use.
Yeah. For anybody who's maybe not aware, the ISTQB announced, I think it was last week, a new add-on known as the Practical Tester, which is actually an AI-driven tool, and it encourages people to actually practice their skills. It's a complement to the CTFL. CTFL is absolutely a recommended prerequisite for that. So I think the idea is you have your foundation knowledge, and then you get to practicing a bit like a driving test. Squeeze in one more. Goodness me, what a fantastic audience today. How to restart a software testing career after a year gap to do a master's and additional gap year job hunting?
I think the same as you would any. I think if you have the skills and it's on your CV, that's fine. If you can explain why you have a gap, I would never penalize anybody when I'm interviewing them. And I don't know. I guess I'm thinking when I've been interviewing lately, I've been less looking at the gaps. I guess maybe that's not good. I didn't realize that I had been not looking at them as much until right now. But yeah, I would say that as long as there's a reason for it, I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Yeah, just be prepared. I mean, we're talking about women in testing here, and it's something that a lot of women have on their CVs.
Yes.
A gap, because they've been taking that time off to be with children. And, what I always say is don't underestimate the skills that you acquire often in that gap year, and they can really add value. It's, making sure that within your CV, you're articulating your skills and positioning your skills rather than focusing just purely on, the chronological experience you've had. It's useful. We really have to take one last question here. Yeah. How does the ISTQB Advanced Test Automation Engineer certification compare to hands-on automation experience? Thank you, Madhuri.
So for me, I would say it depends on the type of learner you are. For me, nothing compares to hands-on experience. That is 100% how I will learn and how I will remember. What taking that certification before does for me is it makes that hands-on experience so much more easier and smoother to take in because I already have a base knowledge before I even start that hands-on experience.
Excellent. Right, we are going to say thank you so much, everyone. There's still loads of chatter and conversation going on. And again, I have to reiterate, what a fabulous community, and the support and the help that you're giving each other is just amazing. It's really touched my heart, actually. Thank you so much to Amanda, and thank you to the women in testing community here, and for this opportunity to speak. It's been fantastic. As I said earlier, if you would like to watch the recording, it will be on the ISTQB YouTube channel. Amanda, as ever, thank you so very, very much. Inspiring women in testing.
Thanks, Debbie. Great to see you. Thanks,
Take
Maria.
care. Bye-bye, Maria. Bye-bye, everybody.